Everything that you want in your life and in your business is on the other side of greater measures of accountability. This has nothing to do with your ability. This has everything to do with your capacity and your potential. So the question is, do you want to reach your fullest potential? Are you ready to be challenged in what's possible?
Hey, Smart Chiropractors. I am Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch, and welcome to Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor. Today, we have the opportunity to sit down with a friend of both Jason and I'm sure somebody that you are going to learn a lot from over the next 20 minutes. We're lucky to sit down with Dr. Pete Camiolo, coach at the Remarkable Practice and co-founder of the CEO program. Dr. Pete, thanks for coming on and chatting with us today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's an honor for me to be here and looking forward to our time.
It is our pleasure. Jason and I have had the pleasure also of seeing you speak live on numerous occasions. You're an expert communicator. I'm putting you on the spot with that one, but you are an expert communicator. You've worked with hundreds, if not thousands, you've impacted certainly thousands of chiropractic practices. I know you have a focus within the scale phase of growth and practices, but I'd love to peel back the layer a little bit and say, how did you get interested in coaching other chiropractors be as successful as they are?
Yeah, so I love the question, and it goes back in our story. So, I think I learned early on in school that, it was really important to have mentors, so even in going back to chiro school, I remember, having mentors through chiropractic college and signing up for my first coach, when I was still in chiropractic school and I didn't even have any money and we did it anyway. And so, I've always been somebody who wants to put myself in an environment around people that are ahead of me, that have achieved things that I want to achieve, so I can learn from them. And so I think it started really for me as being somebody who's always wanted to be coached and has been coached really since even before getting into practice. And I saw the value in it early on, and I've been doing that ever since. And then I think in my journey as being coached, the first person that put me in a coaching position was my coach, right? They were like, you have developed, you have followed what we've done, you have succeeded in significant ways, and you have actually gifts in this area. They called that out of me and recognized like you have strengths here. So I started coaching pretty early on, into practice. We were able to have some great success early on as well. So, I think right from the beginning, I knew I had a heart for developing doctors particularly, and I loved having a tremendous amount of students come through my office as interns, whether there was peak or precepting. And we did that right out of the gates pretty much as soon as you possibly could do it. I was doing it. And really my entire career, that's what it's been. And then, really ultimately from there just led into me full-time going into coaching. That's a different story, but developed my own coaching business. And at a certain point, I was even able to, with the success of that, walk away from the actual day-to-day clinical practice, being a practitioner. And I've just been going and growing even ever since then. So that's the short summary of my journey. But it really started because of a coach coaching me and then inviting me to do it. And then I stepped into that and I started to fall in love with that. And then I've just kept running with it ever since.
Hey, Doc, do you have an email list of 300, 500 or more? If so, please connect with our team at thesmartchiropractor.com. With Patient Pilot, we can activate that email list and start generating reactivations into your practice each and every week. To schedule a demo and learn more, head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. Again, that is thesmartchiropractor.com. But right now, we'll head back over into this awesome interview on Interviews by the Smart Chiropractor.
And we're glad that you did. Pete, you'd mentioned seasons. One of the first places I sort of thought about the idea of seasons to a chiropractor's career was through you and Dr. Stephen Fransing. As mentioned earlier, you founded the CEO program, Chiro CEO program. Can you first sort of create for our listeners the context of the seasons and then specifically how you help chiropractors in the scale season, which is your expertise?
Yeah. So, what's interesting is that, I went into practice, just gung ho, like all heart philosophy, just the world needs to get adjusted. Let's go get them, and that was me. I came into practice just going after it. I was everywhere you could be. I was there. If there was a stage, give me it. If there was a radio show, give me it. If there was TV, like I'll do whatever I got to do to get out there. I was at screenings and talks. You do it all. And so that's how we built our practice. We were very successful. We knew how to get out there and meet people. And I'm not saying I was, naturally able there. I developed the skills. I think you had to go in and just start doing it, like without knowing what you were doing, and then learn as you go. And so it was very much an organic process, but it took steps like that. But what I had seen was, you know what, I had a great mentor to help me launch my business. I had a great mentors in helping me build my business, but there was no one in our space that actually was helping what we have identified as the third season, which is the missing season, and which is to scale the practice. There was no structured, systematized, intentional, purposeful program organization within the profession of chiropractic that actually embraced wholeheartedly teaching doctors scale. And even the words I'm saying right now didn't even exist. I didn't even know what to say. I wouldn't even know how to shape that phrase. So I had built a successful job. You know, I was an owner operator in a very successful chiropractic business. I had multiple associates in a big practice, but I owned a job. I didn't know that I even owned a job. I loved the work that I did, but I would have stayed in that exact space for the duration of my career had I not come to a place of constraint. And the constraint really for me was my own personal journey, you know, health challenges with my family, and me needing to choose to respond to that, which then caused me to lift my head up and walk away from the practice for a little bit and then get an outside view and realize this is not sustainable. And what am I doing? And what are we doing? And what's happening here? And then I looked around at our profession and all my successful colleagues, they're all burning out and stressed out and don't know what they want to do and looking to get out and try to do something different. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? We love what we do. We love the chiropractic profession. We love the principles of chiropractic. We love what we're doing, but the way we're doing it isn't working. So I ended up exiting the chiropractic coaching space and went outside of our space to go find help. And I started surrounding myself with CEOs that were not chiros. And I learned in 2 years of being into a very committed, intense program of mentorship and coaching, what it meant to really become and be a CEO of a business. I was the smallest business at the table. I mean, these were businesses that were doing tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, and were with huge teams and huge marketing budgets and complexity. And here I was like, okay, wow, I have a lot to learn. So, you know, I had to knock the chip off my shoulder and go in there and learn and be a student. And so it was in that space that they really spoke into me and they said, hey, you have gifts and talents as well in this area. You need to do something with that, like beyond your practice. So it was either opening franchises for me or it was launching and doing coaching consulting. And that was where in that season of my life with all the young children I was having at the time, it was like me opening more businesses and franchising is probably not a very wise thing. So the coaching space was already what I did and I loved. And I was like, well, that makes the most sense. So that's really where the revelation came to me is, you know what I'm going to do? I'm a chiropractor and I've learned how to become a CEO of my business over the last 2 years. I've built this model, rebuilt what I had built previously. And I was working 4 hours a week as a chiropractor and running, you know, my successful practice. And I realized, you know what? I'm going to teach chiropractors how to become a CEO. And that's when we built our first course. It was called Chiro CEO. And we started building our first course and we started releasing our first products that way back in 2016. And that's when it really became real because we brought 20 of our colleagues, people that we respected that were also successful. We said, hey, you know, this is a concept that we're looking to bring into the space. What do you guys think? We flew 20 of them into Nashville. We met with them for 2 days. And the feedback that we got almost across the board was thumbs up, man. Like, we need this. Absolutely. We had already started building the course. So we already felt like we knew the answer, but we wanted to get that approval. Once we got that, we were going. So as soon as 2017 hit, we released the program and we've been rocking since then. So since then, I've had some changes in my business model and structure a bit, but I ended up, you know, partnering up with Stephen Franson in 2019. And we've been building since, and we formed what's called the Remarkable CEO program. And our whole mission has been, we identified that there is a season called launch. It has a start and it should have an end. And if it ends badly, it's called a failure to launch. And if it ends well, you go into build. So you go from launch into build, and build is also a temporary season. You can't stay in the mode of building for the rest of your career. It's unsustainable. It's actually subluxated. It's if you were in business and you stayed in build at all times where it's dependent upon you and you are exposed all the time, that is an unsustainable model that is unhealthy. And we're in the health space, so we can't be teaching people how to build in a vitalistic model, how to build a model that's unsustainable. And so that was where we said, okay, we're going to teach those launch and build, but the scale was the missing piece. So that's really where we have just spent our time helping doctors do a remarkable launch and build and then transition into scale. And one of the key, criteria to even transitioning into that season is you start bringing on more practitioners, right? You bring on you reproduce what the limiting factor is, which is your ability, what only you can do. And it's about bringing in somebody else that can do what only you can do. Now you have multiple people that can do that. That's when we can start to scale. And that's really but then there's people that do that, but don't do a great job of it. 67% of associate doctor relationships fail because we don't even know how to do it. So it's not just the fact that, oh yeah, I have associates, I'm in scale. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going for you actually, because most of the time it's not going well. You might think it's good. Let's call your associate and see what they say. And the reality is that we know there's a lot of challenges and issues in our space. So we want to wholeheartedly come alongside of the chiropractor or CEO, but also come alongside of their team and their doctors and help everyone win. Help everybody have a remarkable experience, regardless of the seat you sit on the bus. Everybody has a vital role. You're all part of the leadership team in some capacity, and we're going to grow this together. So scale, you can scale infinitely once you figure it, once you have the model dialed in. And then of course the last season, Doc, to answer your question, is just the natural progression of things, which is we're going to exit one day. Like I never planned to sell my practice. That wasn't like Pete's, like I have a 10-year plan. It wasn't. And when I ended up selling my office to one of my associates, it was because it it made sense. It was the right thing to do for him and for me. And it worked. It was amazing. And we still have an amazing relationship to this very day. And so, I want to be able to be a part of a profession where you can work and serve and build and scale. And one day you can exit and it could be remarkable the entire journey. And you can have we like to say a graceful and profitable exit. And it doesn't need to be a crash landing. It doesn't need to be, painful for everybody. It can be a win-win-win across the board. And that's really ultimately what we believe the profession needs. And I believe ultimately from speaking with, like you said, hundreds and now thousands of chiros, that's what chiros want. And so we are very intentionally building structure and organization around the 4 seasons of the career.
Hey, it's Dr. Jason. I just want to take a brief moment and invite you to schedule a demo with our team to learn more about our patient pilot automated email campaigns. They are the smartest way to reactivate the people you've seen over the years in the past. Check it out, schedule a demo. We look forward to helping you help more people, piloting your patients back into your practice. Now back to our show.
I love it. Very, very well said. You lived up to it. Expert communicator. That was exceptionally well said. And I have a follow-up question to dig into exactly what you just described. We have a lot of docs listening in all stages, but I know we have a lot of docs that are in that scale phase. Yet they're siloed, right? They're alone, they're siloed, and they might not even know, when is coaching right for me? What do I get? Like, how does the whole thing work? If you would just break down in a few moments for everybody listening, what does coaching mean? When somebody's working with you or the other coaches within the remarkable practice, how do you go about that? What can a doc expect? How do you know if you're ready? I'd love for you to unpack that, because I feel like there's just so much confusion around the topic, and so many people need the benefit of coaching, yet they've never taken the step to accept it.
Yeah, so it's a loaded question for me. So I have a lot of different ways that could go, but I'll start this way. Everything that you want in your life and in your business is on the other side of greater measures of accountability. If you want to grow your finances, get accountability in your finances. If you want to grow your relationships, get accountability in relationships. You want to grow your business, get accountability. This has nothing to do with your ability. This has everything to do with your capacity and your potential. So if you see yourself as somebody with huge potential, then you are going to be surrounding yourself with people that are going to hold you accountable. Because you recognize that if you're left to your own devices, most of us, we're going to reach an end point, and that's as far as we'll go. And that's not saying, you don't have massive potential at all. It's saying if you look at humans and human nature, if you want to optimize performance, you put yourself in an environment where you're going to be coached and challenged. And obviously, athletics is the easiest one for us to all look at. So I don't even need to talk about it. You cannot optimize your potential as an athlete unless you're in a coaching environment. It's impossible, right? So the reality is that it's just first of all recognizing you have huge potential. So the question is, do you want to reach your fullest potential? Are you ready to hit your full potential? Are you ready to be challenged in what's possible? And also there's this thing called the blind spots. There are areas of our businesses in our life where we just don't see and we can't see because we don't have the ability to see. And so you have to have an outside perspective to be able to get that purview, to get that insight, so then you can, and then take the appropriate action. I always tell every person that comes to me on a call that says, hey, I'm thinking about coaching and, why should I do it? Why should I choose you? How are you guys different from others? And, all the questions that I get. And I'm basically like this. Listen, you're the boss. You don't need me you don't need, like, you're in charge. Like, if you were to choose to hire someone like me, you are electing to bring somebody into your world that you want to build a relationship with, that's going to help hold you accountable to the vision that you have for your brighter and better future. And if you want to build a better and brighter future, personally and professionally, it's a really good idea to bring somebody into that who you can tell about that, who's going to keep you focused on that, because there's a lot of distractions in life and there's a lot of busyness in life. And so you're choosing to invest your money in buying somebody else's perspective, insights, consideration, accountability, support, help, encouragement, challenge, all of the above, to you walking out your story. I think one of the things that we do, I love what we do in Remarkable, is systems. We have incredible systems that will help a doctor launch, build, scale, and exit. We have systems, so it's systematized. That's number one, and it's organized. Number two, and I think that's a big thing, is that people want a playbook. They want to be given a system, and a system that's proven over the test of time, that's proven globally, that's proven on all the different models. Like, we're not exclusive to a specific technique. I mean, we have all the techniques, well, not all the techniques in chiropractic, but there's a lot of more major mainstream techniques, and all of the above are welcome in our space. So whether you're a Gonstead doctor or a tonal doctor or an energy healer, or you're you're a functional doctor, or you're an integrated doctor, or you're tonal, I don't know which ones I said, or whatever it might be. If you're a CBP doctor, and all of the above, like, we have all of the different practitioner styles that work within our system, because our system is agnostic to your technique. What it is, though, is it's a white label model that you can plug and play, because it's systematized and it's organized, and you can take your vision, your model, your process and procedures, and put it up against the one we have, and you can optimize what you have. So that's one thing. Number two is, I think we really have a heart for the leader, like the development of the team and the leadership team, and helping the doctor become the CEO, and the developing your team and the ascension models, all the way from like a checkout front desk CA all the way to becoming a back office CA, an office manager, and a COO, and helping your doctors develop into clinic director positions. And I mean, all of the things that you could do to develop and elevate your business to the next level, but not having to figure it out on your own and wing it and take all that risk and just be like, oh man, it was a huge investment, but it ended up sideways or upside down. Listen, we have a model, we have a concept. We know it's risky enough being an entrepreneur, being in business. So again, our system really speaks to, the doctor that really wants to be held accountable. They know there's a more excellent and better way. They have huge potential, and they want to make sure they hit it. And they want to have a remarkable life and business. That's the other thing. Like, the premise that we have is you can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life and not instead of one. I always tell the doctors, listen, that's not like a slogan. It's our promise. It's our brand promise. It's our standard. If you don't have that, then I'm not doing my job. So if you're not taking enough vacations, if you're not earning enough level living, if you're not saving enough and investing enough, if you're not doing these things that are important to you, being there for your children, your family, yourself, fulfilling your personal mission as much as your professional one, then that's a problem. So our role is to actually help make sure that you are building that remarkable life and that remarkable business, that's really where I think we focus in, and that's our specific areas where I think we really prosper and we flourish in that and helping doctors achieve that.
That is awesome. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I've got a ton of questions. I'm assuming our viewers have a lot of questions too. So that is my question. What is the next step? I know we were just at your event in Dallas not long ago. It was outstanding. It's amazing how much you pour into us in such a short period of time. And just the quality of people, both on stage and in the room, was awesome. If somebody's saying, sounds like, what I need to learn more about, do they get on a call with you? Do they show up at an event? Both? What do you recommend people do as far as taking the next step?
Great question. So everybody has their timeline and their pace and their ways that they like to do things. So all of the above, and we have a website, you can go and check out, theremarkablepractice.com and learn more. You can go and check out our podcast. We have a podcast. We like to teach a lot of the concepts called the Remarkable CEO Podcast. I do with partner Stephen Franson. And then of course, if someone says, yeah, I would love to come to one of your events, on our website, you can check out our live events, and, you can come to one of our immersion events as a guest. And then you can, if you want, hop on a call to talk shop. I mean, that's one of the things that I'll do. I open up a couple of hours a week in my schedule to jump on calls and talk to docs that are interested in learning more. And I know all of our coaches do that as well. So it's just something that we're happy to do, like a strategy type session to see what you're up to, what you want to accomplish, and, see if potentially coaching is a fit or not, and so that's something that, for sure, if docs are interested in that, we can do that.
That sounds fantastic. We will drop all of those links down below. If you are listening and or watching and you do not currently have a coach, or maybe you have a coach and you're not exactly thrilled at the accountability levels that you have, I will speak to what Dr. Pete does with Dr. Stephen and the entire team over at Remarkable Practice. They have the systems and processes dialed in. There's absolutely no question about that. And Pete, yeah, I love that you took time out of your busy day to hop on with us, break down a little bit about the coaching, just give a little peek inside, because I know there is so much to it. So I'm going to encourage every doc listening and watching, click on the links down below, connect with Pete and or the team at the Remarkable Practice, get a better understanding of how they can help you launch, build, scale, and exit. I think I got all of them there. So, Pete, thank you so much for taking the time today and coming on and chatting with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this video on The Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.